Alright, so this is the second part of this video I'm making today. I'm cutting out cutting out my first belly for my whip here, and I've already cut them in the first video and stretched them. Now I'm gonna resize, split, and bevel them as needed. The handle is gonna be 10 inches long here, so 1.5 times that is 15. So I know that they're going to need to be about 8 millimeters to the end of the handle. 7.8 to be exact, but we'll bevel them down to that. So we're going to resize them down to 8, and then we're going to taper, give it a slight taper to the end, which I know is going to be 45 inches about. And I measured the thickness here, and sorry, I keep moving off camera. And this was about 3 millimeters, so I did some calculations. 3 times 4.5 divided by 4 is 3.3 something. 3.3 is close enough, just 3 millimeters, you know. So by the time we get to 45 inches, it needs to be 3 millimeters. So if you want to, you could even go further and say from 15 inches to 45, so that's 30 inches. In a 30-inch period, you need to go from 8 millimeter to 3 millimeter, and to get how much you need to taper it, or it needs to be tapered, you could say divide that, like, it needs to go down a ½ inch every 6 inches or so. You can like get your exact calculation for that. But I'm just kind of doing this a little bit more intuitively. So at 15 inches, which is right about here, I'm going to go from 8 millimeter to 7.75. Tapering at like a 1/4 millimeter every 4 inches or so. 4. Let's see. Let's just go ahead and do some math here. Alright. I know this is upside down. Sorry about that. So we know we're going to go from 8 millimeters to 3 millimeters in 30 inches. So how much does it need to taper every few inches is what we need to know. If I go down to 7.5 and 4 inches, let's say 5 inches, and then 7 at 10 inches, 6.5, 15 inches, 6 at 20, 5.5 at 25, and 5 at 30. So that's not going to be quite enough. It needs to taper even more. So what I need to do is probably, we're doing every 5 inches, probably every 3 inches. So 7.5 at 3, let's mark that out. 7 at 6, 6.5 at 9, 6 at 12, 5.5 at 15, 5 at 18, 4.5 at 21, 4 at 24, and we needed it to be at this. So 3.5 at 27, and then 3 at 30. Yay! Normally I would like use a kind of formula to figure this out, which I use my phone for, which is actually being used right now to make this video. So I don't have that luxury. I need to get a calculator. Just a slave to the phone like everybody else. Alright, so what I want to do is resize these, and resize on your outside edge, the edge that was on the outside of the curve, the skin. It'll make your laces a little bit better. So let's get some calipers. You know, these stretch down quite a bit. To get as close as possible. This is a really cool tool that I got from Clint Sims. You might not have this tool, but you can make your own resizer and beveler like this, something like that. But I've got this because I make a lot of lace, and it's nice to have trustworthy tools. Plus this thing takes up less bench space because I've got a resizer, beveler, and a splitter all in this tiny little thing, and normally I have like 3 or 4 different things doing that. So what I'm doing here is pulling this through. So my blade needs to be adjusted, a little dull. Be careful when you're working with sharp razors. I must have been using this for something else. Yeah, let's just put a fresh blade in there because this one's already at the end of its life here. Bear with me a moment. You want to make sure that your razors are sharp. Whatever edge you're using to cut with is sharp enough to split a hair. Okay, it's a little bit better. I think, go back and check here. It's a little too wide still. Still too wide, I think. Still too wide. That probably about it. Yeah. 7.8 is what we really need it to be at, so that's close enough. So we need this to go down to 15 inches. Just a little bit further. Alright, then we can start. We're at 15 inches here. Maybe a little bit more. 16, it's alright. Start tapering now, so what did we say? Pretty much like 1/2 millimeter every 3 inches. That's 3 inches right there. So that should be about 7. It's close enough. Go down another 0.5 millimeter. Another 0.5 millimeter. Another 0.5 millimeter. Another 0.5 millimeter. I'm just kind of eyeballing this, and you'll see here I am wasting quite a bit. And normally I wouldn't like to waste this much, but for the sake of the video, I will. Should be getting close to about 35 now. 45. It's about 40 right there, and about 5 more inches to get to 3 millimeter. Alright, so that's pretty close to 3 millimeter right there. I'm just going to go ahead and pull that through. So you see how it's tapered here pretty perfectly. Got my first one done, so I'm going to go back and do my second one the same way. Get in there. Pretty good. We did 16 inches for the last one. It's about 15. 16. Start the taper. That should be about 7.5. 7. That's 6.5. 6. 5.5. 5. 4.5. 4. 1.5 and 3. So now I've got 2 that should be fairly close. You know, this is the belly, so not 100% perfect, but all right. Inches, 7.5, 7, 6.5, 6, 5.5, 5, 4.5, 4, 3.5, and 3. Just got one more strand to do. This was our first strand that we cut, so it's probably gonna waste quite a bit more than those other ones. Inches to 16. So taper at 7.5. 7, 6.5, 6, 5.5, 5, 4.5, 4, 3.5, and 3. Okay, so now that the strands are resized, I'm going to split them to an even thickness. Show you how to do that. I tried that out. It's what we want is 0.75 is what I've made the calculations for this whip to be. It's 0.75 right there. Just get the beginning of the handle in here. Just double check myself. 7.5. A little bit bigger. Okay. See, your skins might seem like an even thickness, but after you stretch them down, you'll have parts that are thicker than other parts. So that's why it's good to have a splitter. Get an even thickness, you get more perfect plaiting that way. See how there's hardly anything getting shaved off now? And then how much gets shaved off right there? Okay, now I'm gonna bevel these, and I think I'm gonna make another video on how to do that, because the way that I'm gonna have to bevel these is gonna be a little bit different. I'm gonna have to bevel these by hand in order to get them nice, because this thing, well, it'll probably work. I don't know. Let's try it. Hopefully I don't mess up the strand. So, talk to you about beveling. There's different ways you can bevel. You can just bevel the underside on both sides, top side on both sides, or you can do them catty-cornered. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bevel the outside edges on the top and over here. So the top on this guy, the top on this guy, and then the top on this guy, and the top on this guy. And then the bottom on the inside ones. So the bottom right here, bottom right here, bottom right there, and bottom right there. I don't know if that makes sense, y'all, but this way, sometimes I just do it this way for the bellies and do it just bevel on the underside for the overlay so it looks better. But the strands tend to lock together better if you do it catty-cornered, especially if you're doing just 4-plat. So let's try it with this guy. So the top side here. I know that y'all won't have this tool probably, so there's a lot of other videos that show people doing it by hand. David Morgan and the masters, and it'd almost be better to learn to do it by hand to begin with. So I'm just shaving a little bit off here. up to bigger thickness here. Keep an eye out for it. So what I'm going to do here is get a little bit bigger. Now we did every 3 inches, so do about the same with the beveling. Too much. And coming up to the end of the handle. So I was talking about, this thing works good for certain thicknesses, but I haven't figured out how to use it well for the thicker thicknesses. Alright. So we beveled off that top edge there.